Well, I got some sad news for all four of you guys that are still playing Concord. It is shutting down as of September 6th. They're turning off the servers, they're issuing refunds, and, well, that's that. I mean, that's been the fastest turnaround from launch to failure that I've ever seen in gaming, and that's really saying something because I owned a copy of ET, thanks very much. I actually still do. So, yeah, this is worse than ET. More of a disaster than that, and that is shocking. So anyway, I got this article we're gonna go through and talk about a few things. So let's just jump right into it. This one comes from Game Rant. Concord is shutting down. Refunds being issued. So the PS5 console exclusive hero shooter game Concord is shutting down on September 6th. Concord was first revealed to the world this past May, and right off the bat, it struggled to generate interest. Many criticized the game for being yet another hero shooter in what is becoming an increasingly crowded market, while others were not impressed with how it seemed to ape the art style of Guardians of the Galaxy. Valid points both, and doubly so for the fact that it's a $40 retail game in a sea of hero shooters that are free to play. But you know, those are two of the numerous problems that this game has, and numerous problems that people had issue with. But anyway, the long story short is it seems like they're going to shut this down and reset and rethink how they're going to approach it. It almost sounds like they're going to come back with this game in the future, but they have to kind of figure out where that lands. And that is actually in this article right here. However, this is something that they came out with. However, while many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game and our initial launch didn't land the way we intended. Therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6th, 2024, and explore options including those that will better reach our players. So it really does sound like they're going to retool things and then re-release it probably as a free-to-play game. Like I said, I mean, that's certainly my forerunning theory at this time, is that they're going to make it free-to-play. The other things that they probably should do is, well, for one, change the character designs and change the look of the game. Like, the aesthetic of this game is abysmal, and the only consistent aesthetic that is on display is that it looks like an Overwatch clone. At least that's what it looks like to me. So that needs to change. I mean, the impression that it's an Overwatch clone, they need to get away from that, and they need to have something as distinct and unique and aesthetically pleasing as possible to separate themselves from other hero shooters, so that they can have like a consistent, capture a consistent audience. And that's the most important thing for these kind of games, these live service games, where you've got server infrastructure to keep up and all this stuff to keep maintaining. You got to have a player base, and you have to separate yourself from the crowd. And they did not do that in any reasonable fashion, except for in the fact of, this is probably the game that looks the most like crap to players than any other game. So they separated themselves in that capacity, but that's not a good thing. That led to the terrible launch that they had. The other thing they could do, and I'm not sure that they're going to do this, two things actually. The first is remove the identity politics in the game, because that's a clear issue. I doubt that they're going to do that. But the other thing they could do is they could kind of expand upon the character designs in terms of like their backstory and the plot and the environment and the world. Do more world building. That's what they really need to do. And I understand that there is some extraneous material to the game that you can read through to get an idea of that, but nobody's doing that. If you're going to world build, you got to do it in the game so that people are aware of it and they see it while they're playing the game. That's the only way they're going to see it. That's the only way that they're going to consume it. And once they have that, once they're engaged with that, then they can go outside of the game and look at more of the lore behind it. But you can't start outside of the game. You have to start in the game. You have to really build that environment there. And a lot of the problems that I've heard people complain about is like the fact that they're watching these cutscenes where all of these characters are friends in the cutscene, and then they're out in the game and they're fighting each other, and it's like, why is that? Why do they go from friends here to bitter enemies on the other side of the battlefield over there? There's no consistency. There's no explanation. There's no exposition in the game to tell you why you're fighting and what you're fighting for and what you're really doing. fighting your former friend from 2 minutes ago in the cutscene. Like that doesn't make any sense, and it's not lining up. And that's something that I've heard a lot of people complain about with this game. Now, it could just be that they didn't read the expository material, and that's probably what it is. But the fact of the matter is, that's because it wasn't in the game. It wasn't streamlined into the game so that they would consume it immediately and have an understanding, at least a high-level understanding of the environment that they're jumping into. So these are major issues that they need to address, and it's a big problem for Concord to separate itself from the pack. And they decided to invest massive amounts of money into this game that was already entering into a crowded market that is all free to play, or at least majority free to play. And trying to charge a $40 price tag, it was bound to fail. And especially once you saw the initial peak of simultaneous users like on Steam, and actually that's a good time to go into that. So you can see these are the most recent numbers. The yesterday's peak, it went out at 110 simultaneous players, and then the valley got down to 33. So when your game is at a valley of 33 and a peak of 110, that's a failure. That's an absolute destruction of this game. I mean, there's no way to recover from that, because you can't maintain a server infrastructure on this. Not to mention the fact that the peak was 607, and a peak of 600 gets you exactly to these valleys of 30 and 40 and peaks of 100. And hey, today at least it hit 132. Wow, it's going up. So, turn the servers back on quick. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that for 22 players. So I don't know. It is a bitter failure for Concord, and I hope that they do fix it. I don't know if they're going to come back with this game. It could also very well likely be that they just, like they've been doing, like all of these major conglomerate companies in gaming have been doing, is when the game fails, the studio gets slashed and burned. So they might do that too. I mean, that's not without possibility in this day and age too. So that's what I got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Rest in peace, Concord. Maybe you'll come back as a zombie someday, but I'm not so sure about that. Anyway, if you like these kind of videos, give it a like, and I will talk to you guys later.